Alright, so, I'm gonna sit you down real quick and, just give you, like, a quick thing. Like, I'll sit you down at the library and tell you a quick story, or lay you down in bed, tuck you in, give you a quick bedtime story, except it's not that quick. This is just some, like, surreal dream I had. So, I'll give you some context. It's winter break. I am in elementary school, don't remember what grade, but I remember it was the last full week of December 2016. I was really getting into Dragon Ball then. And I was playing a lot of games over the break, and then that last week, the entire week, except for the Tuesday, because I had insomnia that day, or that night, I had one of 6 acts of the dream. So I'll start with Act 1. So Act 1, I wake up. I am in what looks to be a deserted lab in a test tube. And, like, I look around and see a bunch of, like, failed experiments, and I'm in, like, green jelly. I look around and see a bunch of, like, failed experiments. I see a guy with crab hands and crab eyes. And I see a guy with a fly's head. And I see a guy with a scorpion's tail and scorpion legs. And then, as I'm looking around, a bunch of guys come in with a fish and 2 vials full of a purple and blue liquid. So, like, there's a vial with a purple liquid inside, a vial with a blue liquid inside, and then a fish, an entire, like, dead fish over here. And, like, it's all weird. I'm, like, confused. I'm like, what are they gonna do? They walk over to my test chamber, take off the lid up to it, drop the fish in, pour the contents of the 2 vials in there, and then the fish, like, gets slowly closer and closer and closer and closer to my face, and then as it's, like, pushing up against my face, like, almost about to pop it, it just pops out of existence. And then slowly, like, slits start to open up on my neck. There's exactly 12 of them. And then I feel like something growing out of the bones in my forearms and my calves, and it's just sheer pain for, like, about 20 seconds, a good 20 seconds, until it's just finally over, and I'm not in pain anymore. And then, they let me out of, they drain my test tube and take me out. Sorry, my mic just fell. And I just collapse. I cannot move because the jelly paralyzed me. And, like, as I'm paralyzed, they put me onto a stretcher, obviously, because they gotta take me there somehow. And then I get up as I'm in the test chamber that they put me into. And as testing, they say after testing you could go home, and they seem like they seem pretty trustworthy. They don't seem like the typical, like, mad scientist, so I trust them. And so I flex all of my muscles, and as I flex my triceps and my calves, a bunch of some, like, fins come out, like, and then, like, I tap them, and they cut my finger, like, a really deep cut. And it's like it's like Cars' blades, like, you know, the blades that Cars from JoJo has, where they, like, come out of his arm and they can cut anything. That's what I had, except they were fish fins. And then the chamber suddenly filled up with water all the way to the top. Like, there's no breathing room, except I could breathe just fine underwater. That's what the little slits were. They were gills, and I could breathe underwater. A lot of people, I've asked people, like, what do you think it'd be like breathing underwater? And they say, like, I think it'd be, like, weird, like, heavy, like, the air would be heavier, except you could still be able to breathe. Nah, it just felt like normal air. And then they were about to drain the test chamber, but then a small hole opened up on the side of the test chamber. I'm gonna just move my webcam real quick. I do not have... Just 1 second. Alright, here. I'll put it over here. So, basically, they put a small hole in the test chamber door, through a frog, a hedgehog's legs, and the 2 vials in there, sealed up the hole, and the frog and the hedgehog legs started floating towards me, and they started fusing with me. Now the scientists were like freaking out, and they're like, "This guy's not gonna survive 3. he's the only one that's ever survived 1. How is he gonna survive 3? Thank you, by the way. Except I survived it, and now I had super speed. Yes, I was just as confused as you are right now. And I had a 50-foot long tongue, like a frog. So I left the containment chamber and ran away. I went to an abandoned military camp, and I went into a car, and then I woke up. End of Act 1. Alright. Now, Act 2, I wake up in that same car. I look behind me because I feel something watching me and breathing down my neck, and there's 2 of the same guys that trapped me that tried to kill me with the mutations. 2 of those same guys took me, put a bag over my head, or like a fishbowl, like, you know, like that fishbowl that Sandy Cheeks has? Imagine that, but the other way around. So it's water. I'm covered in, my face and my neck are covered in water, and it's just a fishbowl, like a petri dish. Or not petri dish, no, like the fishbowl item in Terraria. Like, you could put it on your head, and then you just start drowning, except I wasn't drowning. So I take that, they take me in, shrink me down, it doesn't hurt at all. They plot me into like a cardboard, like a tiny box, like, you know, like that ones that you like propose to, you know, like you propose to people with, like you go down on one knee and you open the box and it has the ring in it and you're like, will you marry me? It's one of those, except upscaled a bit, so that it could fit a tiny person. And then they take like an eyedropper full of acid and slowly start filling it up, and they have this like super creepy smile on their face. It's so much creepier when you're tiny, and it's like, it just scares the crap out of me. So I gotta like get out of the box, and I have to do like a bunch of parkour, and at the end I have to solve a puzzle. It's like a Survivor minigame, if you've ever watched that show. As I get to the end, I failed the puzzle, so the acid gets me, except I don't die. I go back to before the puzzle, like I'm almost reloading a save in a video game. I keep going back until I finally get the puzzle. It takes me like 12 attempts. And then I finally finish, let me think of what I'm gonna say. After I get out, I run away, and then the dream ends, or Act 2 ends. Now Act 3 is where things start getting weird. This is the first absurdly powerful enemy I have to deal with. So I have to. So I come back. I am at the same tree that I slept next to last time, because I slept in a tree last time, or next to a tree last time, and I had to, like, I woke up. Alright, sorry for the cut. My dad came in and told me to be quieter, but I also had to redo this part of the video specifically because my editing software decided to just crash. I think I was at the part with the sinkhole, so like I woke up and I was like running away, getting as far away from that facility as I could, and then suddenly a sinkhole opened up below me and I fell into like a fight arena, and like as I fell into said fight arena, I saw like all of the mutations that I saw in that lab, plus 1,000 more, and then like there was an announcer dude. He was just a normal guy from the Centaur Insurgency, as I'm gonna call them, I assumed, and I had to fight like a dude with human limbs, but his torso and head was just a shark, and he was absurdly strong. Like, he threw me like into a wall, I ping-ponged against it and landed back in the ring, Then he grabbed me and just kind of dunked me into the floor, and I fell up, and my head got, like, stuck in the roof, like in the cartoons. Like when you get, when you, like, fly up and you get stuck in the roof. That's what happened with me. So I had to go down, wrap him in my, like, 50-foot tongue, and, like, slam him against the floor, the wall, to weaken him so that he couldn't move. But since he has dolphin, genetics, he can just he could just regain all of his abilities immediate. He could just heal all of his wounds immediately. So I had to, like, cut him into tiny bits so that he can't recover. Literally physically impossible. I had to mess him up on an atomic scale. Alright, and then that brings us to the end of Act 3. And now Act 4. This is Thursday's dream. I had to drive my car, or my poo-poo brown Ford Focus that I somehow had the keys to the entire time, and was somehow at that exact place. I had to drive my poo-poo brown Ford Focus, all the way to a dock, because I was in somewhere in, like, Japan. I don't know. I don't know where in Japan, but yeah. And then I had to take a ship to Boston, and then fly a plane from Boston to California, which is where I live. And because I didn't have enough money for a flight just from Japan to California. And I didn't have a wallet on me. I had like $20, and apparently a plane ride and a boat ride only cost $20, and I guess the full plane ride costed $21. So yeah. Anyway, so I drove there, and like the entire Centaur insurgency was just like on my tail, following me. And like I looked in my rearview mirror to see how many there were. There were loads. There were like people running as fast as my car. Like normal people just running as fast as my car. There were like marauders, like the freaking cars with the guns mounted on top. There were planes, there were helicopters, there were tanks, and I was just driving away as fast as I could. And then I look in my rearview mirror, and it just all of my rearview mirror just goes black. And then I see like this white guy with glowing white eyes, completely bald with a magnificent beard, and he does like that thing that Little Mo Fades does where he gets real close to his webcam and he goes, "Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up." And he does something like that. He like looks at me, just dead stare, just goes, "Wake up, wake up, wake up. This is not real. This is not real. Wake up, wake up." And then it all snaps me. This is a dream. So I just imagine all of those guys blowing up. Then an airstrike. Then I imagine in an airstrike just coming in and blowing them all up. And again, this happened in 3rd grade. I was surprised I knew what an airstrike was. Then I drive over to the dock, and that's the end. And then Act 5, I get on the boat, and I take a boat ride over to Boston, because that's where I gotta go to get the plane ride. And, I go to, like, up to where the captain's deck is, and, like, cause that was meant for France, and I was trying to go to Boston, so I had to, put my fin blade up to the pilot's neck, and I went, "Take us to Boston now." And then, so he went, in the most autonomous voice possible, "Now changing course to Boston." And then So it came to me, this guy's a robot. So I tried to, like, stab him just to see what had happened. Not the arms, obviously, because that'd just ruin everything. It didn't work. In fact, my fin blade got stuck. I had to retract it to pull it out. And that hurt so much that I screamed out in pain. And that was enough for a bunch of fishmen underwater to be like, this is my cue. Pop up and attack me. I killed all of them. They were just weaker versions of me. Except for the last guy. The last guy was like a big red one. Or like, I guess I should explain the fishmen. I'll call them like Cybos, I guess. I don't know, that sounds cool. Cybos. They're like if the Zoras from Legend of Zelda and the Kanasans from the Dragon Ball Bardock episode, they fused and became a thing. Or no, they had a child that turned out to be an absolute clown. And they were absolute clowns, except for the last guy. The last guy was different colored, and he had a purple rocket launcher that shot starfish with knives at me. So I had to cut the rocket launcher in half to make it malfunction and shoot him instead of it shooting me, because that's definitely how it works in real life. You cut a rocket launcher in half, the rocket definitely doesn't explode on you. The rocket launcher definitely doesn't just stop working, it just malfunctions and hits the guy that's holding it. Anyways, we land and then the final act starts. Act 6, this is the Saturday dream. So I dock, and like my 3rd grade crush just waited for me at the very edge of the dock, at like where my boat was supposed to be, and she was leaning on like a halberd. If you don't know what that is, I'll put one up on screen. It's like if an axe and a spear were just crammed together. They had a child that went through a glow-up phase and turned out to be a badass, and it's like the greatest weapon, the greatest melee weapon ever. Anyways, so she had one of those, and we started fighting fin blades versus a halberd. And then, oh boy, it was a close fight, but she won. Is what I would say if plot armor didn't exist. Because, like, tiny fingers came out from my gills and just kind of caught the thing. Or not the halberd. And then I, like, whipped out my 50-foot long tongue, wrapped her up completely in it, pulled her close, and then just kissed her. Yeah, I'm as confused as you are. Trust me. I don't know why I didn't strangle her, drown her, kill her in some other form. I just kissed her. And then I guess she was under, like, some spell that only a kiss could cure, like in some fucking fairy tale. Because that cured her. And she was like, I'll help you on your journey now. You gotta get home, I gotta get home, we gotta get home, we gotta go. So we went onto, like, a private plane that had, like, that same robot guy. We caught up on our lives. And then we saw this dude. I examined him really hard. And then I saw he had a monkey tail, and I'm like, oh, we're doing this again. Quick background. I don't know if I've said this yet, but I was really getting into Dragon Ball at this point in my life. I had watched the Saiyan Saga and the Frieza Saga. So I hadn't gotten to the Cell Saga, Buu Saga, GT, or Super yet. I don't think much of Super was out yet, though. So I had to wait until the plane landed. Then he came out and just clotheslined me into a building. Everyone fled the area quickly, so we didn't kill any innocent bystanders. And then, like, he also had the power to alter reality in the same way I could in a dream. So what he did was he made his hand, like, massive and then slapped the sun, and it became a blue moon. So he became an Ozaru. And then I didn't know what golden great apes were. I had not known that golden great apes existed. But he became one. I just thought, hey, Super Saiyan combined with Ozaru would make a Super Saiyan Ozaru. And then he was like super strong, and he was like, you know, and he said the thing that scared the life out of me. He said, you know how when you're in a dream and you're about to die but you wake up last minute? Yeah, this isn't gonna be one of those times. That scared the crap out of me. And like, he did so much damage. He slapped me once, and then I'm like, okay, I can't get hit the entire time during this fight. So we kept fighting. I kept trying to slice him, but all that did was give him Zenkais, because he has the DNA of a dolphin and can instantly heal wounds. So what I did was I threw, like literally tossed, like boosted my 3rd grade crush into the Ozaru's eye. She climbed in with her halberd and just disconnected the nerves to the Saiyan guy's tail, because he had Saiyan biology in him. That's why he became an Ozaru. And I used my fin blades to slice his tail off. And then, so that's what happened. And then we weren't gonna kill him. We aren't that heartless. All we did was take my 3rd grade crush's halberd, stick it into him, furthermore, stick it into the ground, and then just leave him there. He's gonna need a couple senzu beans for that one. Anyways, we walked home, we walked to our houses, and then the end. That's the dream. That was the most surreal experience I have ever had in my life. Jesus Christ. Anyways, that is all for me. Goodbye. This took way too long to edit. This took way too long to edit. What am I doing with my life? Tell me, what am I doing with my life?